Good morning and welcome to Norcal PTAC's webinar on how to write a capability statement or Statement of Qualifications, SOQ as it's also known. This is the second webinar in a four-part webinar series leading up to our Matchmaker event on July 20th, which is the biggest event of the year. So if you aren't registered for the remaining two webinars, it's on how to do business with the state and how to do business with federal agencies. And those both have panelists from state and federal entities. So very helpful to join. But welcome today for this one. My name is James Forrest. I am the program coordinator for Norcal PTAC. Today we have Lenny Bean, our procurement specialist with Norcal PTAC. He's one of a team of procurement specialists we have, and you are in excellent hands with him. I want to hand things over to Lenny pretty quickly, but I do want to just talk a little bit about Norcal PTAC and what we do. Norcal PTAC stands for Northern California Procurement Technical Assistance Center. You see why we shorten it. And we are hosted by the Humboldt State University Sponsored Programs Foundation, where that red star is up in Humboldt County. But we serve this entire region in green. You can see these 15 counties, including all of the counties around the Bay Area. And we offer procurement assistance. So there's three basic ways we do this. All of them amount to a tremendous amount of help to our client base. In 2020 alone, we helped them win more than $314 million, which was nearly twice as much in 2019. And we have reason to believe that that figure is actually potentially grossly underestimated. So our clients are winning quite a few contracts, and they've come to the right place to get help if you have an established business that has a location in our service area. So we take applications through our website. Just to give you a little peek about what it is like to be a client, we offer two basic services just for clients. The first is one-on-one counseling. So procurement specialists like Lenny here and others can meet with you individually to go over just about any government contracting topic you can think of. So marketplace research, statement of qualifications, reviewing bid proposals, compliance, all sorts of matters of certifications. And that we can do this all remotely by phone, video conference, email, whatever works for you. For those clients that are already in the system, after you apply, we can also set you up with a custom bid matching profile. You work with your procurement specialist to set certain criteria based on what you sell, and then it goes into a system that aggregates all the opportunities in that filter and sends them right to your email box every morning. So you can stay on top of those bid opportunities, which is pretty neat. That's something we pay for and then offer to you for free. And the third thing you all know, because you're here today, is that we offer public trainings, resources, and webinars. You can also check out our website, which is chocked full of resources on federal, state, and local contracting under the resources tab at norcalptac.org. And that is also where you sign up. Click on that red Apply Now button. That's how you get started. If you are not in this service area and you're wishing that you were, don't worry, there's PTACs across the country. There's 6 others in California alone. So if you can click on that aptac-us/find a PTAC link, when you get the PDFs of the slides, that will be linked as well. You can also just Google it. I find that pretty quick. A little bit of housekeeping today. So there's a Q&A feature, and then there's a chat feature. Chat feature we can use for networking and things like that. If you have a Q&A, a question that you'd like read aloud to Lenny Bean at the end of the presentation, go ahead and enter into there. Be as specific as possible, but please try to think about the audience, questions that would be beneficial for everyone to hear. So you can enter those into the Q&A, and I will either type an answer myself if it's something easy, or I'll pose it to Lenny Bean at the end, and we'll all have a chance to hear his answers. So again, this is Lenny Bean. This is one of our procurement specialists who've been with us for a long time, and really happy to have him doing the work for this, putting on the research, and getting this webinar together. So thank you so much, Lenny, and I'll let you take control of the slides now. If you just double click the screen, it should be able to. Uh-oh.
Not so much today.
Well, tech problems come when you least expect them.
Okay, I think I've got it back up here.
If you're able to go back into the share screen mode and then click on the screen option as before. If not, I can hurry up and share my screen if you'd prefer. Might be best. Oh, there we go.
I think we're good.
All right, take it away.
Okay.
Thanks, Lenny.
Mm-hmm. So, okay, so of course we have our disclosure, typical of government contracting for sure, having disclosures, want to protect your information. So at the time of this presentation, we believe this is fairly accurate information. However, please contact one of us if you have any additional questions. So today we're going to talk about developing a statement of qualifications, get an understanding of why that's important for government agencies, and not necessarily just for government agencies, but for other businesses as well. It's a good marketing tool. And then we're going to talk about how to prepare that statement of qualifications and talk about how to make your company stand out. One of my lines is you don't want to put in motherhood and apple pie. If you say you're the best in the world and you have the absolute highest quality system, you probably have, another 1,000 businesses saying the same thing. So stay away from that motherhood and apple pie statements. So statement of qualifications, kind of what it is, and then the purpose, how to prepare one, and then I have some examples, and we'll talk about how do you deliver that statement of qualifications to potential customers. So the statement of qualifications. So it's essentially a sales document. It's also known as in commercial business as a line card. It could be a flyer, could be online, could be something that's handed over a physical piece of paper. But it contains your information about your company and you, not just your company, but yourself as well. It's going to be organized in a certain way. It's widely used in the government sector. Department of Defense attended multiple things several years ago, and they have been teaching using a statement of qualifications to connect with them for a very long time. And as has been widely accepted in the federal government, then the state, city, counties, and local governments like it as well. So it's a sales document. You want to get a good picture of your company, what your capabilities are, how to get contacted, and use that as your marketing tool for government contracting. So initial contact. There are small business specialists. Every federal agency has an office of small and disadvantaged businesses. So every federal agency has an office. You can Google Department of Interior, any federal agency. You can Google the Department of Interior Small Business Office, and you will get a connection to that small business office and the small business specialists that reside in that office. In addition to that, most states have small business offices, and all of the large prime contractors have small business offices. The reason for that is that they have specific goals. So if it's Lockheed Martin or Honeywell or any of the big companies, they have to meet small business goals that are even higher than a federal agency has to meet. And so they typically will have an office for small businesses to contact. So you want to contact those small business specialists, contracting officers, government buyers, and the program managers. You want to, this is a good tool to connect with, initial connection with a federal agency or a contracting officer, but it's an excellent tool then when you send them that PDF file, that they can quickly then mouse click it over to a program manager, etc. And other businesses, if you're a small business looking for getting into the government market, one of the things you want you to think about is connecting with a prime contractor that does business in that marketplace. Chances are they'll be wanting to talk to you, and this statement of qualifications is very quickly can be sent to them. Sources. So sources sought, if you are familiar with the federal marketplace, when you see a sources sought out there versus a request for quotation or request for proposal or an award announcement, the sources sought, typically they're primarily looking for small businesses so that they can set it aside for a small business to meet their goals, or looking for additional information before they actually issue an RFP. So this is a very quick way to respond to those sources sought and get your name out there and show them what your capabilities are. Industry days and networking events, as James had mentioned, on July 20th, we're having a government to biz online virtual meeting. You get to meet with some of those buyers and small business specialists in the government and industry. And you can, when you sign up, you can upload your statement of qualifications so they can see it in advance, and you can reference it, and it'll be set up in our system for any of those small business specialists to have access to. And that Gov2Biz Matchmaker, there's the link. And if you need additional information, just go to the calendar on our website. So how to prepare one? You would want to start with the first paragraph should capture your core capability. That core capability stand out from the competition, what that core capability is. So one of the things you can do, there's a lot of places to go. The dynamic small business search, you can search in there and look for your competitors, because in there is where you would have yours as a small business and they would have theirs, kind of that one paragraph of core capability. So look at what your competitors are doing. And by the way, before I forget, if you're looking for examples, and we'll talk about a couple, if you're looking at examples of SOQs, simply Google statement of qualifications or qualification statement, and you will find some that are online. People actually put theirs out there. The last sentence in that first paragraph should describe your small business type. If I'm a buyer or a small business specialist with, say, the Department of Interior, I want to know if you're veteran owned, if you're disadvantaged, do you have any small business certifications? Do you have the 8A minority certification, the hub zone, the woman owned, veteran owned, etc. Very important to have that. And I like to have it seen in that last sentence of your core capability, because they want to know first what you do and then what kind of small business you are. Bold the key words in that first paragraph. Buyers and small business specialists see a lot of these documents. It's so widely used, and so you want it to stand out as much as possible. So tell them by bolding those keywords of what you're all about. And again, avoid the motherhood and apple pie scenario. People are just going to look past that. If you say you are the greatest, plumbing company in the world. It's not going to cut it. You've used up space on that document, and avoid that. So collect all of your government codes. And you have a DUNS number and a CAGE code if you're registered in the System for Award Management. And you want to show that the SAM registration and orientation to government sector is what it tells them. I'm registered in SAM is what it tells them because of the CAGE code. And those are important features if they want to do some additional searches on you. Your NAICS codes, North American Industrial Classification System, and product service codes define what business you're in. And they have a need to know this so they can do, if they're going to issue an RFP, they're going to want to know what kind of codes you have. So list the code and the title and a couple of bullets of what you do in that code. Just putting the code or the code and the title isn't enough because the codes are very broad. The NAICS codes are very broad. So what you want to do is help that federal procurement people in matching your code requirements by telling what you do in those codes. The UNSPSC codes and the NIGP codes, these are used, for example, the state of California uses the UNSPSC codes, and there are a lot of state and local governments that use the NIGP codes or both. So if you are looking to market to state and local governments, it would behoove you to look up those codes. You can just go to unspsc.com and do a quick search, get your codes, and a couple of bullets of what you do in those codes, and include it on that statement of qualifications. Any non-government certifications. So if you have quality certifications, ISO 9000 level quality, any security clearances that you have or had in the past, I would include those because typically security clearances can from time to time be reactivated. Okay, so if you've had security clearances, you have them now or you had them in the past, put them down. The other certification, particularly if you are your market of interest with the federal government, it's called CMMC, and that is a self-assessment, if you will, of how well your cybersecurity is. So there's a cybersecurity, I'm not going to talk about a year, that would take probably a couple of hours all by itself. So, but we do have on our website where we've provided those webinars in the past, and feel free to look it up. But if your target is the Department of Defense, and eventually it's going to be all government entities, you need to be cybersecurity certified. Your key clients. So put the name of the client and the project performed, and keep in mind that this information will get distributed. It's hard to keep it non-public, if you will, right? Because you want it to be, you want this is your advertisement, you want to get it out there. But on the same token, look at, from a competition point of view, and also, by the way, ask permission to put the name of that client in on your statement of qualifications. The other thing is you can provide references upon request. But the best thing is if you can get some testimonials, put the testimonials on your statement of qualifications. That is even more helpful because it immediately shows how well you are doing in your market. Contact information, clear and concise. Who to contact, and think about that. If you're a one-man band, that's one thing. It's just you. But is there a specific person that you want them to contact? And put the name and title in and who they need to contact. Email address. You want to even create a new one for the government marketplace. That's short and easy. You don't want to have to, it's just like us if we put in the, Northern California Procurement Technical Assistance Centers, .gov. That it's just too much. You got to shorten it up. So make it easy for them to contact you. Phone number. I'm amazed at how many people I will call, particularly cell phones. So you may not want to, maybe you need a separate cell phone, but it's amazing that I can't leave a message because it's full. Or you just as a blank at the end, you don't even know who you've called. There's no message on how to leave a message. So think about it. You can get phone numbers for your area. You can get Google phone numbers, but you got to make sure that there is a message at the end, and then also ensure it will be answered within 24 hours. Otherwise, you're going to they'll lose interest really quick. Call the phone number. Do you like what it says? Maybe you need somebody, if your voice isn't too good, or you don't think it is, or it doesn't sound right, well, you probably can find someone who would be more than happy to leave that message. So it's very clear and succinct on how to contact you. So websites, include it if you have one, and make sure it's the HTTPS. The S stands for secured site. So if you do have a website and it's just an HTTP, whoever developed your website need to get it secured, because they'll be reluctant to click on an unsecured site. And if your website's under construction, don't include it. Just don't even mention a website. Not necessary. So only put it in there if it's secure and it's not under construction. Biography. So if you think of this as two pages, perhaps, the biography is the key players or owners. Have your core expertise. It's one paragraph describing the experience the individual brings to the company. And have a picture with the bio. These are the people that run this company. This is why you want to do business with this company, is because those people have that core experience, because those are the people that are going to be performing on a potential contract. On the reverse side, if they give a double-sided PDF document, put the bios on the back side. If you want, you can put the bios on the back side, or you can mix it up a little bit. But the thing to remember is that your business is only as good as you are. And so it's important if you are, let me take another example. So I have a business, and it's a construction business, but I personally don't hold the construction license. Okay, it's on another individual. You should have that individual and their breadth of experience as being the licensed person who is going to oversee any awards for buildings. So this doesn't sound like a big deal, but I like to see it because it shows it's real, and here are the people that are going to perform on your contracts. graphics. And by the way, when you finish your PDF document, don't make it black and white like this presentation. It's very hard on the eyes. And have a off-white background, if you will, rather than the white. It's much easier on the eyes. And if you think of how many of these documents these people will read, the easier it is for them to read, and even in handouts and everything, I suggest you do that. Include your logo, include pictures, but only if it supports your core business. You probably see the picture I have behind me. That's because I reside in New Mexico, and there's the hot air balloon behind me. So it really isn't a good example. Perhaps I should have had something more on procurement. I'm not sure what I would put there, but only put pictures in if it supports the business, and not a lot of pictures, and so that they kind of make sense. Video. If you can create a YouTube video and include the URL on the document. Videos that you reference 2 minutes max. I mean, and something that shows your company in action or a completed project. A lot of these people are pretty busy looking at qualifications, issuing contracts, all that good stuff. So it has to be very, very succinct to get them to view it. And so don't make the graphics, take over the information. The information that you're sharing with them is much more important than all the videos in the world. So how do you deliver in statement qualifications? So small business events. At the bottom, we have a business event coming up on July 20th. That's an excellent place, and we have a place there for you to upload it. When you request a meeting, you get connected to a small business specialist, and you send them an email, and please find attached my statement of qualifications, and request a brief meeting. All right, don't just say, oh, here it is, but request a brief meeting. If you, at your convenience, I would like to, provide you, 10, 15-minute meeting to perhaps walk them through the statement of qualifications. And really what you're trying to do is get them to look at it, number one. And number two, when you are talking to them, if you do get those meetings, as brief as they are, because they already have that statement of qualifications, you don't have to go back through all of that. What you want them is you want them to be talking. So you want to ask questions of them. These for what my business does, what kinds of requirements do you have? What kind of issues do you have? Love to help, provide and solve your problems. So you need them talking and letting you know. And you also want to find out, is there someone else I can connect with in your organization? And a lot of times what they will do is forward that statement of qualifications to that other organization. So you want to connect with buyers. A lot of times you will find, oh, that's a request for quotation. Boy, I'm really not sure I could really go for that. I can't meet all the requirements. However, you could still send that buyer a statement of qualifications. You're passing on this particular opportunity. However, here, please find attached my SOQ that provides the types of things I do. If every chance you have, get it out there. Connecting to prime contractors. Like I said, a lot of the larger prime contractors they're 40, and I know a couple of labs are at 50% of all the contracts they issue have to go to small businesses. And that's much higher than the federal government. It's 23% has to go to small business. Well, 40% comes up with the big prime contracts, and because that's where they're going to really make some hay and get some more small businesses involved in government contracting. So don't ignore prime contractors. Look for their small business office. And by the way, if please contact one of us if you have any problems trying to connect with people, and we will see if we can help you identify the people you need to connect with. Small business partners. You'll have an opportunity at our small business event to network with other small businesses. And being able to share that statement of qualifications really gives you a lot more traction, so that you can see what they have to offer, and vice versa, what you have to offer as well. So take advantage of that for sure. So there's a couple of examples. So this is an electric company, as you can see, pretty busy. It's pretty busy. It's probably maybe a lot more information than what you would really need, but I do like the photographs. I do like how they line those up and show what their capabilities are. It's clear on who is in charge. It's clear who the contacts are, etc. It does say on the left-hand side there, although the DUNS number is there, little typo, it should be DUNS instead of DUNN. I just noticed that. I guess I get too picky. So as you go down that column, what you're going to see that their NAICS code, what their bonding capacity is, and the fact that they're a small, disadvantaged, veteran-owned business. They're also an 8A, and they have their hub zone. So they have 4 of the set aside for small businesses for the federal government, and that is going to be very important to any buyer or small business representatives. So let me go to the next one here. So this is Sophia, and she's a landscape architect. So this is essentially a one-person business at the moment, although she's going to start expanding. And I like this because it follows a lot of what we've talked about here, some statement qualifications, and that she's bolded, like landscape architecture, planning, graphic design. So that pops right up. Trails, parks. And puts in their certifications in that last sentence. Then she has a couple more paragraphs that talks about a little bit more about the business, and then focus areas. Then she has her NAICS codes, NIGP codes, contact information, and then past performance. She has a complete list of past performance and see exactly what kinds of things that she has accomplished. And there's a little bio, and that's really all you need from a bio perspective, is just a short paragraph that talks about the breadth that this person offers. And if you notice, she has her actual architect certification there as well. So before we go into any questions, I've gone through this fairly rapidly. But here are some of the next preparation and doing business with state and local agencies is tomorrow. And on Tuesday, how to do business with the state of California. And then contract with California on Wednesday. And the last matchmaker preparation is doing business with federal agencies. And then we have the virtual matchmaker itself on July 20th. And I encourage everybody to sign up. So I open for questions. I think there's some, let's see.
All right, thanks, Lenny. I can read some of the questions aloud, but first someone's asking about whether they're going to receive the slides. And we've been recording this session, and these slides will be converted to PDF and sent out. Well, they'll be posted to our website under the resources and then past webinars tab. And then it'll be available for everyone to access. I'll email you later today once I upload those documents. So don't worry about the slides. Everyone will get them if they want. So the first question comes from Krista, who asks, is it standard practice to have an SOQ that is front or back, front and back, or 2 PDF pages? Is that overkill?
I would think of it as your a large business card. You don't want to hand out 2 business cards. You want one that's very concise, has all the information, and so it is more standard practice to have it front and back. And a lot of times, some of the companies are very, very straightforward. It's just 1 page on the front and there's nothing on the back. But I encourage people to use all the space they have.
All right. And our next question comes from Becky. Is it secure to put our EIN in this SOQ document, which is emailed around?
My answer to that is you don't have to put your EIN on any SOQ. What's more important is your DUNS number, cage code, things of that nature, which makes sense for contracting. Your EIN, you should not, I wouldn't recommend not putting it on. A lot of clients have put it on. And I typically would call that to the attention. My recommendation is don't put it on, that they don't have a need to know.
Okay. Corey is asking, as a new business, we do not have past performances. What do you recommend?
Focus on your experience. When you say we do not have past performance, I assume there's more than just you, Corey. So look at what you have done in the past. It could be in where you were employed, and that's where you learned your trade. So amplify that if you don't have any past performances, and be open and honest. You could, that first paragraph, we are a startup and our expertise is in but startups are okay, and feels if and by the way, on the SOQs, send it to one of us if you're already working with one of our counselors, and if not, feel free to send it, sign up, and we'd be happy to review your SOQ. Absolutely.
Another good reason to sign up for PTACs services if you're in our service area. So we have some questions here. Well, first I want to point out a lot of folks are entering their questions into the chat. We will answer them if they go into the Q&A. It's just very difficult to track the questions once they all build up in the chat. So please enter them into the Q&A feature so everyone can track them together. And we're getting more questions about the slides. The slides will be sent to everyone. So don't worry about that. It's going to go on our website. I'll send the link in our chat. Also a question about geographic area for working with PTAC. And as mentioned in the beginning of the presentation, we only work with businesses who are located in our service area, which you can also find on our website. So I'll drop that in the chat, or you can click on the link once you get the slides later today, norcalptac.org. All right, our next question. Warren asks, during yesterday's Matchmaker event, there was talk of having multiple SOQs. And what type of situation would specifically tailored SOQs be required over a more general version?
This is a good one because, and you're even if you have just one SOQ, keep it up to date. Things change so much. You might have a new reference point. You have a new testimonial. Your business has changed somewhat. Keep them up to date so that they can quickly be used. And a lot of times you want to change the focus. If you were approaching a buyer, in the federal government, you perhaps would have a particular focus to it and what you do. If you were approaching a prime contractor, and it would be a different type where now you're looking to subcontract and you want to then generate a statement of qualifications that shows, your experience as a subcontractor. All right. So yes, multiple SOQs are fine. When you're starting up, you're probably going to have one, but good thing to think of the audience that you're going to send it to.
All right, good question. Cynthia's asking, our statement is paragraphs, and the example that you gave was in bullet form. Is bullet form generally acceptable for all agencies?
Yes, you could do it either way as long as the information is clear. If the paragraphs are extensive and they have to read a lot, that's why I suggested, bolding, some of the key words if you have paragraphs. And perhaps an opening paragraph with some bullets below it would be easier for people to read and follow. So I would think you got to have the paragraph, pulls it together, but then some bullets that support that paragraph.
All right, thanks, Lenny. Another question from Corey, who's asking, should we provide an SOQ when doing personnel contracts or meeting with someone in the private sector?
Sure, it's a good standard way as a marketing tool. In the private sector, a lot of times you'll hear the term line card. I'm not sure where that came from, but it's been widely used. Give me a copy of your line card. But that statement of qualification would work in the private sector equally as well. Again, think of the audience, who you're going to send it to, and to focus it on what the private sector is looking for.
All right. Another question from Krista here. Is commercial past experience okay to include as long as it reflects our NAICS codes?
Absolutely. You have experience of any kind. Doesn't have to be government. You have commercial experience. They want to know that. I mean, you could be, let's say, in the building industry, and you are now looking at bidding on a federal project or something. It's going to be very, very important for people to know what kind of projects you have done in the commercial sector. And by the way, it's a very good thing to have a balance. I mean, don't put all your eggs in one basket chasing government business. Make sure you have a good balance of commercial business as well. That way, if one's going up or one's going down, you have a balanced portfolio for your business.
Okay, we don't have any questions right now. I'm gonna go ahead and take control of the screen since we just have a moment. Is everyone able to see that capability statement on the page? Lenny?
Yes, I can see it.
Okay, great. Just want to point out, Lenny may have referred to this, but this on our webpage, norcalptech.org/capability statement, this is where you can find some information and some links about, this is a free template, and then here's our own free webinar that we did from last time. We'll have largely the same amount of information, but this is the template that you were able to use. And another pitch that you are very welcome to apply for services if you're in our service area, and we can help you look over your SOQ together. Do we have any other questions for Lenny while we have this expertise on hand? They've been really good questions this morning. Rory says, thank you. Thanks for joining, Rory. Appreciate it.
You're welcome.
All right, I don't see any other questions, so perhaps we'll end a bit early. And just a reminder that we do have more webinars coming up, so please take a look. While I have the screen open here, I can just go to our calendar. We've got July ones and August ones. From our webpage, you can sign up for all of them. They're all free, and our virtual matchmaker is on the 20th at 10 a.m. The sooner you sign up, the better. Meetings have already begun scheduling, so if you haven't signed up yet, please do so. Take a moment to fill out your supplier profile, and you feel free to email us at info@norcalptech.org if you have any issues that come up. Again, thanks for everything Lenny did for this presentation. Thanks everyone for joining. As you leave, you'll be directed towards a page with a link that links to a survey, it's a satisfaction survey. If you could just take a moment and let us know how you felt about today's webinar, that'd be really helpful. It means a lot to us so we can improve our services, and it means a lot to our funder as well. So that's always nice. So thanks again, everyone, and hope you have a good rest of your day. Bye-bye.
Oh, we got one more question.
Would you like, okay, right under the radar. Can we find these SOQs from different areas? Examples?
Yeah, the answer is yes. You can even, like I said, Google it and find some SOQs. If you are a client of ours, I would be happy to send you some samples of the statement of qualifications.
All right, perfect. All right, on that note, we'll sign off. Thanks everyone for joining, and have a good rest of your day.
Thanks, James.
Bye-bye.